Now let's try to understand what is interface inside TypeScript. So for that, here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create this interface. To create interfaces, we can use this keyword called interface, and after that I'm going to create this player, and this is the kind of audio player that we are trying to play with. Okay, now as you can see, to create these interfaces, first of all we have to use this interface, and if you notice here, I'm using this capital name for this player, and this is the convention. Okay, now here inside this player interface, what I want to do, I want to add this property called current song, and the type for this current song will be string, and after that I'm going to use the semicolon, and then let's use another property here, current song length, and for this we are going to use the type number. And in the previous video we saw how we can work with functions inside TypeScript. So here I'm going to create this play next, and this is going to be function type. So for that, to define the type of this function, we can use this single pair of parentheses, and we can create this arrow with this equal to and this greater than symbol. This is just like the arrow function, and we can also define the return type for this function. Okay, and as we already discussed in the previous video, the default return type for the function will be void, but if I remove this void from here, and if you hover over on this play next, here you can see we can use this player.playNext to access this function, and this is going to return any, and we don't know about this any, so we are going to specify the type of void. Okay, because we don't want to return anything from inside this function, we don't want to return a string, number, boolean, anything from inside this function, so we are going to use just this void. Okay, after that, here we are going to use this play previous, and this is also going to be function, and the return type for this function will be void. Now here we have this interface, so let's see how we can use this interface. So for that, I'm going to create this player, and this will be an object, and I want to use this interface for the type for this player. And as soon as I hover over on this, you can see we have this little error, and here it says type object is missing the following properties. Okay, inside this player we need to have all of these properties, only then this player object will be valid. Okay, and for that, let me show you this cool trick here. Now if I go to this player, and if I put my cursor here, you will see this little bulb, and if I click on this, here you can see add missing properties, and if I click on this, here you can see we have all these things added automatically by this VS Code itself. Okay, so that's the magic about TypeScript. Now if you have already worked with Android Studio or any other IDEs, this VS Code behaves same thing like that with TypeScript. Okay, now here you can see now we need to add this current song, and current song will be string, so I'm going to add this believer here, and for this current song length, I'm going to use this 35,000. Now let's assume that we are using the milliseconds, and let me show you one more thing inside this TypeScript. Now to define these numbers, we can also use these underscores like this. Now if you know about Java, inside Java also we can do the same kind of thing to distinguish the breakpoint for these numbers. Here we are using this 35,000, so here we have this little thing, but it is going to compile this as 35,000 whenever it is going to compile this JavaScript file. Okay, now here this play next, this is going to be function, and here we have this return type void and all these kind of things. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this arrow function, and we are not going to return anything, we are just going to log this to the console playing next. Okay, and I'm going to copy the same thing, and I'm going to replace it with this one, playing previous. So that's how we can create interface, and that's how we can use this interface for our object types. And we already learned about the object types, how we can define types for objects, but here we also have this interface. And why is this a double thing going on inside TypeScript? Now if you don't know about any other languages like Java or Kotlin or anything like that, this interface works exactly like that. We can use this interface and we can implement this interface inside other classes. And because we are not using these classes here, we can also use this interface as the type for this object. Okay, now let me show you by creating the simple class here, and I'm going to call it audio player, and this is going to implement this player. Okay, now this is going to be class, and here you can see we have this little red warning, and that is because currently we are implementing this player for this class audio player. Now if I remove this keyword from here, this implement player, all of the error will be gone, but I'm going to put it back. And now if you read this error, the complaint that this TypeScript is giving us that we are incorrectly implementing this player interface. Means now to be valid for this class, we need to have all of the things implemented from inside this interface. Now for that, here again, if I go and put my cursor here, we will have this little bulb, and if I click on this, here you can see implement interface player, and I'm going to click on this and you can see the magic. Now as soon as I have all these things inside this class, the error will be gone. Now first of all, here we have this play next and play previous. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy these things from here. I will replace them with this one. Also we have to remove these column, and we have to put these equal to symbol, and now all of the errors are gone. Also you can specify the current song like this, and you can add the current song length as well. For example, let's use this 40,000, which I think if you convert this millisecond into minutes, this will be I think 40 seconds. Okay, now here the main thing is that we are creating this class. Now here we have this class, and here we are implementing this player. And if you don't know about classes, and if you haven't worked with object-oriented programming, then this will be the foreign language for you. And we are not going to dive deep in this classes and all these kind of things inside this section or inside this course. That will be the beyond the scope of this course, but I will tell you why we have this class here. Okay, now here we have this object called player. Okay, but here we have this audio player, and we are implementing this player. As we already know that to be valid for this audio player, it needs to implement all of the things from inside this player, but this can also have some other properties as well. Okay, now if I add this stop audio, this will be the valid thing for this class. Okay, this only needs to implement all of the things from inside this interface called player, and it can have other properties as well. This will be the complete valid thing. But the main thing that we use classes is that we can use this as a blueprint. Okay, for example, here let me go and change these types to string and number, not null. This needs to be number. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this constructor, and inside this constructor we are going to use this song info as the parameter. And what we will do, we will use the song as the type. So let's create the type for the song. As we already know, we can use this keyword called type to create these types. And here we are going to add the name, which needs to be string, and we will also have the length, and this length will be number. Okay, now let me format this code, and inside this constructor now we need to also pass this song info, which will be an object where we will need to have this name and length. Okay, now what I will do, I will go inside this constructor and I will use this current song, and this will be song info dot name. And as you can see here, we also need to use this dot current song, which stands for this current song, or the current song from inside the object that we are going to instantiate. Okay, so here we will need to have this current song length. Okay, for this one we'll use the song info dot length, and here we have no error. But now because we have this constructor, we need to pass this song info to use this class and create this object. Okay, now here I'm going to create this audio player, and here we are going to use this new audio player. And to create this audio player, we also need to pass this song info. Okay, now here we need to pass this object, and inside this object we need to pass this name. Let me pass this shape of you again, and here for the length I'm going to again use this 40,000. You can also use this 40,000, but for the convenience I'm going to use it like this so that I can read. I'm using this 40 and 000 for 40,000. Now I have this audio player, okay, and I'm going to create another audio player. And for this one, I'm going to use another new audio player. This will be class, where we need to pass the song info. And I'm going to use this closure for this time, and we also need to have this length, and this will be, for example, 50,000. Now this is the difference between this object and the class. Okay, here we have this object and we have the single thing, but if we use this class, we can use this class as the blueprint where we are implementing this player, because we need all these things inside this class. Also we can have extra thing as well, as I told you earlier. But now you can see here we have this audio player and we have this another audio player, and with these things what we just did, we have these two separate objects with two different values. Okay, we don't need to do all the time like this. We can simply use this class and create these objects, and this will work as the blueprint. Now I'm going to log this audio player dot current song, audio player dot current song length, and I will do the same thing for another class, another audio player dot current song, another audio player dot length, current song length. Okay, now I'll save this file, open the console, and here I'm going to again run this tsc interface.ts, and after that we are going to use this node space interface.js. And now here you can see we have these two different objects, and here we have the shape of you which have this value for the song length 40,000, and we have another thing here, we have this closure for the song name and 50,000 for the length. Now I want to show you one thing from inside this interface. Okay, now if you go inside this interface.js, this is the compiled file. Here if you notice, we have nothing called class. We just have this comment called class. This is the comment. But if you notice here, we have this function and we have some weird thing going on here, but we don't have anything called class. And let's discuss why is that. Like I already explained in the beginning of this video, that we are not going to dive deep in these classes and all these kind of things, and that is because this is the beyond the scope of this course. Now you can read, to understand the code that is compiled for class, we have to go too deep in functions, prototype and all those kind of things. And this is the reason that I'm not going to dive deep in these classes and all these kind of things. And also you can read this another line here, because JavaScript doesn't have anything called class. Okay, and that's what we saw earlier inside this interface.js. We don't have anything called class, and that is because JavaScript doesn't have anything called class. Classes in JavaScript is just a syntactic sugar. Okay, you can check out this link if you want to know more about these things. And long story short, here we don't have anything called class. Classes are just syntactic sugar inside JavaScript. Okay, now the main important thing that you need to understand, if you are working with classes, this interface only checks for the types, not change the behavior of the classes. Okay, and here you will see this errors, and that is because we have opened this file. So that's how we can use this interface inside this function and the class. If you know how to work with object-oriented programming and if you know how to work with classes, then you will take most of the benefits of this interface. Otherwise, we are going to use this interface inside our functional programming to create these objects.